Vic DiBitetto. What's up, Vic?
Hey, Artie, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Bensonhurst guy, Brooklyn guy.
Born and raised, well, actually, it was called Gravesend.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. West 6.
It's a little depressing.
Between S&T. Gravesend,
Brooklyn's a little depressing.
Yeah.
Man, that is a rough. It makes you sound like you're never going to get out.
I was playing stoop ball one day, and a ball hit the top point, and Carlo Gambino was laid out that day. There was 7 flower cars. The ball on a fly went in one of his flower cars.
You're kidding me.
That is my mafia story.
Well, you're lucky you're around.
Nah, I didn't know.
They didn't say it was. So wait, is he buried with one of those balls?
I don't know. Someone's got the ball and the flowers somewhere. I don't know.
That was 76 he died, right? Around 76. That's right. That Carlo Gambino was famous for, he's like every mafia guy's dream. He died in his own bed.
Natural causes.
He didn't die in prison.
Sweet
he
little
died
old
of
man.
natural causes. That's right.
Like Maya Lansky.
Never got arrested.
That's right.
You know why? Because he kept his mouth shut.
Right. And he never did anything.
Yeah, right. He never did a thing. Kept his mouth shut, low key.
You know what guy?
Wore a jacket that was very affordable. You know what I mean? Had a row house in Brooklyn.
Members only jacket.
Yeah, the missus kept their mouth shut. They made some food, and
that was that.
Guy, you know what kind of scratch he probably had buried somewhere? Oh my, Maron.
Forget about
it. Yeah. So what started you in comedy now? You started doing comedy.
I was the class clown. I was like sneaky funny behind the teacher's back.
Yeah.
There was an amateur night at Pips Comedy Club.
Pips, I played Pips one time. Legendary place. I got this. I can say I played the original improv in Pips one time each. So I got to say I played both.
Pips
places.
was the boot camp of comedy.
Yeah,
it was the only club where you would get heckled by the owner. Ray Garvey.
That room above Pips.
That's right.
I spent a weekend there one night.
Sheepshead Bay, where the lobsters meet the mobsters.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I remember getting the sniffles in that room above Pips. I remember being caught in a snowstorm in July up there. So you start out in Pips, and Dice was the MC.
That was a lineup. It was Dice, Richard Jenny, John Mulrooney, and I was the rookie. I had to follow those guys.
Wow, that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Mulrooney, man. Mulrooney, I used to see him when I first started.
He's the king.
At Rascals. And he used to do 3 hours.
Yep.
He would do 3 hours.
He could do 20 minutes on an article of somebody's pocketbook.
Whatever happened to John Mulrooney?
He's a cop in upstate New York.
He's a cop?
Yeah.
That's one of the funniest guys I ever saw on stage.
Well, he does the comedy still.
He still does.
Yeah.
But he's a cop. How long have you been a cop for?
Oh, a couple of years now. His love was always law enforcement and guns.
You ever hear of John Mulrooney?
No.
Yeah, I know. It sucks. It sucks that you haven't.
That's my mentor.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, the fact that you never heard of him sucks because he was a guy that I first saw him when I first started out at Rascals in the late 80s.
Right.
And in West Orange, New Jersey.
Yep.
And yeah, he would do 3 hours, and he just would destroy. Man.
Well, he had the Late Show before Arsenio Hall took it over.
Right, he was on Fox. Yeah. He the walls would move. He would laugh so hard.
If you heckled him,
you were done.
Forget it.
I did it. I was drunk. I was 17. I had a couple of Alabama slammers with a couple of friends of mine. And I wanted to get in there and do comedy, but I didn't have the balls, so I just went to a couple of shows. I snuck in with fake ID, and I made the mistake of getting drunk and saying something to John Mulrooney outside. He crucified me. It was brutal. But it
shows no mercy. He's the king.
What town in upstate New York is he a cop? I feel like I want to speed up there and get pulled over.
I feel like I'm cursing. Coxsackie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a name.
And I did a gig up there a couple months ago. He let me take the police car. We drove around. real Brooklyn Irish guy.
Yeah,
Come on, let's get in the squad car. Don't worry about it.
Take the car. What the hell?
I know the chief. Don't worry about it. We had a blast.
That's funny as hell. What do you take the cop car? What did you do with it?
We took it a couple of blocks. I mean, Coxsackie's 3 blocks long. I mean, who's going to see?
I got a friend, my friend, I won't say his name because he's actually a bigwig in the radio business. But he gets drunk and he pays cab drivers to let him drive the cab all night. Like he'll say, "I'll give you $200. Can I drive the cab for an hour and pick up tab?" And some cabbies, they used to. I haven't seen them do it in a while, but everybody's changed now. Everybody goes by the rules. But back in the '90s, cabbies would do it.
Right.
They would. That $200 for an hour, right? You could pick up fares and take the cab. See, we drive a cab for an hour.
Sounds like something on Pranksters or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, nowadays it would be a reality show.
Yeah, exactly.
So you know Mike Buschetti.
I started with Mike Pips.
I know Vic a long time, Art.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Vic, how are you, buddy?
You like you're on a cooking show over there.
Oh, yeah.
And the problem is you can't see the kitchen.
I know.
Well, you guys do gigs together?
Very rarely.
Yeah.
There's just
Not
so many
enough.
gigs. Yeah, you're right. There's too many comics and not enough gigs.
Oh my God, everybody's a comedian nowadays.
It's just, I'm doing this 30 years, and it's just, I work with some of these guys. I'm like, are you kidding me? But you gotta do what you gotta do. Get the check.
There's not a lot of gigs like there used to be. Although I don't know, it seems there's a lot of stand up on television. But
well, the '80s it got oversaturated with all the stand-up shows. I mean, I did stand-up Spotlight, Rosie O'Donnell. I did all those in the early '90s.
Yeah.
Now I'm doing a lot of private stuff. That's where the money is.
Oh, yeah. You do private like parties and stuff.
Yeah, the comedy clubs don't. If you don't have a name or a TV show, they don't want to know you.
Right, it's true. Yeah, sometimes you can make good money at the parties, man.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You do corporate stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do anything from titty bars to corporates. I'm a comedy hooer. You pay me, I'm there.
Strip clubs are tough, man, because you got to follow strippers sometimes. That's not easy to do.
I did a couple of those in Florida. Those never again.
Yeah. I did a couple of bachelor parties. A couple of the craziest experiences I ever had in my life were playing.
You ever do a beefsteak? You're from North Jersey.
Yeah.
You know how many I do the Brownstone?
Right. No, the Brownstone in Patterson?
I did one
Patterson?
for
West Patterson and Patterson.
Yeah.
Brownstone, yeah.
500 drunken firemen. They were throwing the meat at me. But it was like the cartoon. I got the meat, got the bread, and made a sandwich during my act.
I played construction sites a couple of times.
On the construction site?
Yeah, they would get done with halfway through the job. You have a celebration when you're halfway through a job when you work construction. And a couple times I got hired to do stand-up during their lunch hour, the day at a halfway mark. So they would literally take a bunch of spackle buckets, turn it over, and they would just sit down like sheetrock all over them. They set up a mic, and I did stand-up a couple of times. Cash.
Unreal.
2,500 cash.
Nice. I did a gig in Brooklyn years ago. I don't know, you there with Joey Gay. You know Joey Gay.
Yeah, I know Joey. Yeah.
It was in Bay Ridge. It's a corner place, but a Verrazano Bridge. That's when I used to drive a garbage truck. I drove the truck to the gig, did my set, got back in the truck, honked the horn, waved to the crowd through the glass as I was going out.
How long did you drive a garbage truck for?
From 78 to 96.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I always had two jobs. I never did comedy full time.
That's a good gig, though.
Yeah. Well, I owned it. We had private sanitation,
nice.
me and my brother.
Right.
Two trucks.
And so you stopped, you retired from that?
Well, when you work with family, it's difficult.
Oh, don't.
So we sold the business to these guys, and
well, that's a tough business just to start up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I moved to Florida, had the big house, but I was miserable down there. Lived down there for 4 years and came back.
Came back here to do stand-up.
Well, I did the warm-up for the Ricky Lake show for 2 years.
Oh, all right.
So that was good.
Yeah.
And
That's a steady gig.
Yeah, it's good money, steady gig.
She
and
did
I got
that
a
from
small
New York.
head.
She did that from New York? She did that from New York, Ricky Lake?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Wow.
You did another warm-up too, right?
Forgive or Forget with Mother Love. Remember that show?
Yeah.
I did that.
What was that?
They had this door, and these people had problems, and if the door would open and the person was dead, they were forgiven. If not, forget. Nobody was there. It was a weird show.
It was great.
What?
Yeah, it was.
Was it like a talk show, like a setup,
Yeah, it was
like a
like-
Donahue type?
Yeah, it was like a Jerry Springer, Maury Povich type thing. And if the guest was behind the door, that means they didn't forgive them. And the person just stand there crying with nobody behind the door.
And you did the warm-up for that?
Yeah. I was more like a babysitter. You got to give out T-shirts because warm-up.
That's the hardest thing, man, because
It's much harder than stand-up
It
warm-up.
is, because you got to keep the energy going. I did a sitcom in L.A. and the guy, I forget the guy's name, Ron something, man, but it was at the Warner Brothers lot, and we would sometimes keep these poor studio audiences for 4 hours,
Yep.
and we want them to still laugh and have energy. He would be juggling with a unicycle, like, hey, setting himself on fire. Like, what else do I got to do? Because you got to keep their energy going. It's crazy.
Then you get these young producers. They're not clapping enough. I said, you know what? I had enough of this.
Just add the whole. First of all, you go, listen. Look, you're adding fake laughs anyway,
Right.
And fake up. Make the whole thing fake at this point. Like, what are you busting my balls for? It's got to really sound like this jerk off from Nebraska's clapping. Make it all fake laughs.
Don't say this. Don't do that. You can't be racial. I'm like,
And meanwhile, you got to make them happy for 4 hours.
exactly.
All right. No, I know that is the hardest job, man. But if you do that, you feel like you can do anything.
But the money's good. That's the thing.
Boot camp, yeah.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back with Vic DiBitetto.